What's good, pimp? Today we are back in action with a new little segment I like to call Question of the Week. But before that, we got some great fucking news. The Unleashed Gin and Juice podcast is now officially on every single audio platform, from motherfucking iTunes to SoundCloud, Google Play Music, Spotify and Stitcher too. Stitcher is the shit, actually. I never really used Stitcher. I've always heard of it, but I checked it out. It's like a podcast platform, and I'm just glad. It's kind of surreal to finally look and to see that shit on every single platform. You can check it out. New episodes starting next week, next Monday at 8 p.m. You can check out our newest episode. It's gonna be a good one, guys. And man, I'm just excited to see this shit on every single platform. So now you can just download an app and listen to that bitch on your way to work. So when you're looking at them hoes, you're thinking, you strategizing, man. You right there. You like, hey, after this podcast, I'm gonna go up to these bitches, but don't hesitate, man. Don't get caught up too much listening. Matter of fact, you should listen to this podcast as you go up to bitches, man. That's what I used to do in the summertime. I would just hang out outside sometimes, and I would just listen to some good podcasts, some educational shit, and I just stop chicks and ask them for directions, and you know, from there was a wrap. So with that being said, it's time to unleash the new segment, Question of the Week. Now, this segment is basically a segment that we're going to be doing. It's just questions that are common questions. One, questions that we either get from clients. Two, questions we get from homeboys, you know, friends that we have. And ultimately, questions that are commonly asked among men when it comes to women. Now, for this week, we have a typical question. This was actually asked from one of our friends, but specifically, it was about college campuses. All right, check this out. I like this girl in my class, in my campus. How do I approach / flirt with her without making it weird? Now, for this question, I don't even want to specifically make it about college campus. It could be any type of, but for, you know, let's just go college campus. You want to flirt with a girl in class or some girl that you know. How do you do it without making it weird? Now, if she's in class, the truth of the matter is, you're gonna have to be sly. You're gonna have to be good with the fact. You're gonna have to be ultimately comfortable with the fact that people around you are gonna be listening, and it's gonna be people that you see every day. Me personally, in school, in areas like that, I didn't really like that shit. I didn't like the whole being in a fucking classroom with 30 people. I'm trying to mac to a chick. Meanwhile, people are listening in. Dudes are like hating and all this type of shit. I'm not a big fucking fan of that. Me personally, if I was to deal with chicks on a college campus, I personally like to go up to them right there when they're out and about between classes, you know, going to class and etc, etc. I used to actually go to West 4th Park in Manhattan in New York, and for those of you who don't know, obviously some of you are not gonna be from New York, you're not gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about, but basically it's a park. It's a really nice park. There's bitches there, there's birds chirping, sunlight, and all this type of shit, and ultimately there's actually an NYU campus, New York University campus right nearby, right near the fucking park. So a lot of times when you go there, when I go up to chicks there, when I would go up to chicks there in the summertime, oftentimes they would think I was part of the campus. So it actually made it a lot easier to just open them. That's the truth. In fact, I used to notice there was a lot of old channels where people would go up to chick, you know, those pranking type channels. A lot of times those channels will go to college campuses. A lot like Simple Pickup and whatnot. They will go to college campuses because they know that's the only place they can get away with doing all that stupid shit. In real life and other different places, they're not gonna be able to do that. The chicks, they just assume that they naturally go to that college campus, and that was great because I would go to girls and it would just make it easier because it's like, oh, so you go to the school, and then I would just be like, oh no, I don't go to the school. Why, you go to NYU? Oh, that's cool, you must be rich, you can be my new sugar mama. But ultimately, that's not what the fuck you asked me. You asked me, how do I approach and flirt with a girl in class or in a situation, maybe at work or whatever the case is, and the truth of the matter is you should probably change how you think of it from flirting, because that might lead to you crossing some lines. You're gonna have to get used to just getting to know her while at the same time flirting those little bits, but not really crossing that line, not getting too physical. And it's kind of a tough middle ground to play, especially if you're not too experienced, because it helps. Basically, here's what I recommend doing. Just flip your mind from trying to seduce the chick into really getting to know her and actually being genuinely curious about her. That will naturally lead to you asking questions that'll open her up, rather than being there sitting there like, what do I say? Because if you sit there in a work or school environment where there's people around and whatnot, maybe it's not a place where you can say whatever the fuck you want, you're naturally gonna be sitting there like, oh shit, what do I say next? What do I say next in this stiff environment? What do I say next in this stiff environment? And ultimately, I don't fuck with that. That shit is gonna lead to you kind of just being stuck with your fucking words, overthinking, overanalyzing, ultimately looking at the bitch and not saying shit. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is just get genuinely curious about it. When you get genuinely curious, you will have a lot more to say. Just like a lot of guys, when they feel like, hey, I'm talking to this girl, but I have nothing in common with her. But the reality is that is more reason for you to have to talk to her, because at the end of the day, if you have everything in common with a bitch, if a bitch knows everything, you guys are practically twins, what the fuck do you have to talk about all day? Netflix and chill? I mean, if you talk to a girl from a whole nother culture, from a whole nother situation that you don't know, even if it's not that case, there's so much to know ultimately. But you want to ask this shit with some enthusiasm, while at the same time, you know, watching your vibe, looking at her, reading her. You know, here's the thing: at work or at school, you may have to run what I like to call slow burn game, where you just basically, you're not rushing it. You're not trying to do everything at once. Now, if I stop a girl on the street, if I stop a girl on the mall, I'm going to try to get as deep as possible to make that connection as solid as possible, because I know I'm probably not ever going to see that chick again. If you're at school, you're at work, you're at the gym, you're in a situation where you're probably going to see that chick again. So you don't necessarily have to fucking go the whole way. You can just give little nuggets. Like one day you're talking about how she's interested in this music, and then you're nostalgically talking about how you were into that music at the same time, and now you're talking about your childhood, how you grew up watching MTV and shit, and SNL, or wait, SNL, what the fuck, TRL, you know, all that old school shit, and now you're connecting on something. You have something in common. Now you're asking, oh yeah, by the way, what do you do outside of work and whatnot? Now you have something. But remember, don't get into interview mode. Don't get into asking so many fucking questions. Have your body language right, have your energy good, your eye contact well, and ultimately don't make it a big deal, man. It's a lot of pressure though, man. It's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. It's a kind of a scarcity type of mindset. I don't really like questions like this, because at the end of the day, I don't like mixing business and work with emotional shit. You should have some kind of separation. Like, this is where I get my money, this is where I get my productive shit, this is where I go to the gym. Motherfuckers want to mix everything, and that's okay, that can be cool, but you know, you can lead to some drama. And maybe at a point where you're like, hey man, I ain't been getting no fucking action, maybe I want some drama. Fuck it, I'll deal with some jealousy. Drama is way better than being at home with my hand on my girlfriend Jill, you know, my hand on my dick. I'm beating off all day, man, and I don't want to be doing that shit. But mixing all that shit, I'm saying, dude, it's not a good time, because those chicks, to me, I look at coworkers, I look at old classmates, I looked at even chicks at the gym and whatnot. Almost as, maybe less so chicks at the gym, because gym, at least it you know, it switches and whatnot. But in those type of environments, those chicks are like my fucking roommates. If anything, I want to become friends with them and fuck their friends. And then maybe later on, when you're outside of work, or when you're not no longer, then you end up fucking her because her friend has told her how awesome you are. That's a situation that's happened to me a couple times, where, and you know, that's a dope situation. And you know, you don't need to fuck every single chick. And a lot of times when you get into that mindset of making friends, that's when you now can attract her, because she'll see that you're not so needy. You're not in the mindset of, oh my God, I have to talk to this chick, I have to talk to this chick, I'm sitting there, what do I say? Because you are naturally relaxed. You're in the mindset of her validating herself to you. Like, oh, you're curious, like, oh, cool. You have like a really cool vibe. Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, really? Damn. I actually had a friend, she was that same, she was Russian too. She had a really cool vibe, a really cool energy. She was, to be honest, she was my ex. She was a little crazy though. She had that little bit of Russian craziness, but nah, she was cool though. I really liked, there was a directness in the energy. Like, there was a vibe that would just happen with her and her. Yeah, I'm getting kind of lost in this shit. The point is that you now have a moment of opportunity that you don't necessarily have to OD fucking super duper commit on, because at the end of the day, you're gonna see her again. She's gonna be there again. You could drop those little gold nuggets, and then when shit finally peaks to a point where you got enough information about her whereabouts, what she does outside of work, and now you know you guys know a little bit more about each other, your interests, your passions, your future, you know, your future dreams, your past, your childhood, a little bit about your family, maybe even some struggle here and there. That'll be really good too. And now you have the opportunity to ask her out outside of work, outside of campus. Make it something that sounds fun but super duper casual, so it's not like you're super duper committed. Me personally, like coffee, just saying like, oh yo, I know this really cool great coffee spot, like what are you doing after work? Bam, there you go. It's as simple as that. Don't make it out to be a big deal, but at the same time, don't blow, yeah man, man, I just fundamentally, it's hard for me. That's why I'm stuttering. I feel like I fundamentally have a problem with this question, because I just don't feel like that's a place where you want to be getting bitches. But at the same time, it's like telling someone not to get bitches in college, especially in a campus, is pretty ludicrous ultimately too. I mean, there's so many bitches in college, like fuck. That's why I went. That's why I used to go to West 4th. That's why I used to go to that park specifically. There was so many young bad bitches around my age, and ultimately they're thinking that I'm in that school, so it's so much easier to talk to them. That's another thing too. If you're in an environment like school or work, it's so much easier to talk to. You don't have to think of some clever opener. You don't have to think of shit, because you're there. Your coworkers. You're fucking passing the time anyways. It's only natural. You don't have to overthink what the fuck to say to her. Just be genuinely curious and it'll happen. But also, you know, contribute your own shit. Don't just ask her shit consecutively over and over again. You get into that interview mode and her vagina is gonna be, it's just not gonna be a good time, man. And ultimately, that is the question of the week. This is the first edition, and man, I'm excited. Check out that podcast next Monday at 8 p.m. With that being said, bro, don't get caught. Wait, no, that's wrong segment. Man, I don't have a closing cool line. So with that being said, hit that like, subscribe. I don't have a closing line. Fuck it. Until I come up with a closing line. Peace.